Harry, a 5-year-old boy with mischievous eyes the color of spring sky, woke up before the alarm clock. He crept quietly into his father's room and crawled under the covers.
Dad,
He whispered excitedly.
I had a dream about Mom today.
Matt woke up instantly, hearing the words dear to his heart.
She said she'd come back to us as soon as it first rained.
Harry continued to whisper, his eyes shining with hope.
Dad, when is it going to rain?
Soon, son.
Matt replied, quickly getting out of bed. He turned on the light, chasing away the remnants of sleep.
Now get up. We've got to get ready. Let's eat breakfast and run to daycare.
I don't want breakfast.
Harry pouted his lips.
I don't want to either.
Matt sighed, ruffling the hair on his head.
But we have to. You and I are strong men. In case someone needs our help today and we're weak without breakfast.
Dad, is Mommy really coming back?
You could hear the desperate hope mixed with doubt in Harry's voice. It was the hardest question for Matt to answer. It had been a year since Harry's mom had been out of this world, but the boy kept waiting for her return with a touching childlike tenacity.
Of course she will.
Really? What will she be like?
She'd be just as kind and loving, but she'd be a little different in appearance. And she love you more than anyone else in the world.
Matt replied.
I wish it would rain already.
Harry stretched out dreamily. Half an hour later, Matt was already leading his son to kindergarten, holding his little hand tightly. He left the child at the kindergarten and hurried to the bus stop. His old car wouldn't start today. He needed to change the battery. Matt scheduled the battery purchase for tonight. At work, Matt plunged into his routine, trying to distract himself from his heavy thoughts. But Harry's voice and his question, "When's Mom coming home?" kept coming to his mind. His co-worker, noticing Matt's thoughtfulness, said,
Why are you sad, Matt? My wife has a girlfriend, young and pretty. It's time for you to think about a new wife. Let me and my wife introduce you. Harry needs a mom, doesn't he?
Yes, he does, but needs a good mom.
Matt sighed.
You think it's easy to find one. Harry keeps asking when Mom's coming back, and I really don't have anything to say to him.
After work, walking out of the building, Matt froze in amazement as the first raindrops fell from the sky, exploding bubbles on the pavement. His heart pricked with the sharp pain of memories. Harry's words about his mother's return rang in his ears with renewed intensity. Matt raced to the bus stop, hurrying to pick up his son from kindergarten, and then on the way to the auto store for a new battery. But on his way to the bus stop, his gaze caught on a frail woman unsuccessfully trying to unscrew a nut on a car wheel. Her hands were wet from the rain. Matt stepped closer.
Why are you doing this to yourself?
He asked irritably.
Is there no one to help you?
No one.
She said nonchalantly.
I can do it myself. It's just my hands are wet from the rain.
Women.
Matt grumbled.
I'd help you, but I'm in a hurry.
I didn't ask you to help me. Go where you're going.
The woman said nonchalantly.
Even worse. Look, if I change the tire quickly, will you give me a ride to the daycare center? My son is waiting for me there.
Matt said and sighed.
Really? Of course I will.
The woman cheered. Changing the tire took a lot of time. Unfortunately, the spare tire was flat and had to be pumped up. Finally, Matt settled into the passenger's seat.
Have you noticed? It rained for the first time today.
The woman said thoughtfully. Matt's heart clenched with a sudden longing. He gave an involuntary groan, his teeth clenched involuntarily.
Are you okay?
The woman asked worriedly.
I'm fine. It's time to go.
He replied briefly. All the way they drove in silence. At the gate of the kindergarten, a woman suddenly suggested,
Let me wait for you. I'll take you home so that the child doesn't get wet. It's raining so hard.
No need. Thank you. I still have to go to the auto store.
Matt objected.
I'm heading there too. I have plenty of time and you don't seem to have much.
The woman said with a smile. Matt jumped out of the auto and ran after his son. As he walked out of the daycare with Harry, he saw the woman's car waiting for them in the same spot. And she herself, like a little girl, was playfully catching raindrops with her lips. Seeing them, the woman waved her hand joyfully and shouted,
Hey, run here. I'm waiting for you.
Harry froze in confusion and looked at his father in amazement. Then he shifted his gaze to the woman.
Is that Mom?
He asked uncertainly.
Dad, I told you, the first rain came and Mom's back.
Harry snapped out of his seat and ran with all his might toward the woman. She, not the least bit surprised, picked him up in her arms and spun him around, laughing. Her tinkling laughter rang through the air like silver bells. Matt stood frozen, unable to believe his eyes. His son, usually shy around strangers, ran toward the woman with such touching trust as if he'd known her all his life. And she cradled him in her arms with tenderness, as if Harry really was her lost and newfound child. Finally, Matt gathered his thoughts and approached the unusual couple. Harry, spotting his father, exclaimed happily,
Dad, look, Mommy's back. I told you so.
The woman smiled embarrassedly and set the boy on the ground and said,
I apologize for not introducing myself sooner. My name is Alice. I recently moved to this town.
Nice to meet you, Alyssa. My name is Matt and this young gentleman is my son Harry.
Matt affectionately ruffled the boy's hair.
I apologize for his forwardness. He misses his mom very much.
That's no trouble.
Alice smiled.
You have a wonderful son. Shall we go? It's raining harder and harder. I wouldn't want you to get wet and cold.
On the way to the auto store, Harry didn't stop talking for a second, telling Alice about his favorite toys and cartoons. The woman listened to him with genuine interest, occasionally exclaiming in surprise in the most appropriate places. While Matt was picking out a battery, Alice and Harry were waiting for him in the car, talking and laughing enthusiastically. Matt thought for a moment that it was all a dream, so unreal it seemed. It seemed as if a bright ray of light had broken into his gray, everyday life. When they reached home, Harry urged Alice to come over for a visit, but Matt gently stopped him.
Son, it's time for Alice to go. It's getting late. Next time, maybe?
I'll be sure to stop by.
Alice winked at Harry and, turning to Matt, added,
If you don't mind, of course.
I'd be glad to.
Matt replied sincerely.
Thanks for everything you've done today.
As they said their goodbyes, they watched Alice's car disappear around the corner. It continued to rain, as if the rain were trying to wash away all the sorrows from the earth, leaving behind clean and fresh.
Dad, is Alice coming back?
Harry asked.
Of course she will.
Matt answered confidently, though he didn't know where that confidence came from.
Now let's get home before you and I get completely soaked,
he said with a smile. The evening passed in the usual bustle: dinner, cartoons, a bedtime story. Matt read, and his thoughts wandered back to that unexpected encounter. He wondered if he would ever see Alice again. It was so easy and peaceful next to her, as if they had known each other all their lives. Harry fell asleep halfway through the story, smiling happily in his sleep. Matt adjusted the blanket, turned out the light, and tiptoed out of the nursery. The house was quiet, with only the wind howling and rain outside the window. Matt brewed a strong cup of tea and settled into a chair with a book. But the letters were blurring before his eyes, and he couldn't concentrate. He couldn't get Alice out of his head. Her radiant eyes, the dimples in her cheeks, her flaxen hair tucked behind her ears. The way she was so natural with Harry, like she was his own mother.
Nonsense.
Matt reminded himself.
She's just a good, kind person. The kind of person you'd be hard-pressed to find.
He was distracted from his thoughts by the ringing of his phone. An unfamiliar number flashed on the screen, but when a familiar voice sounded on the other end of the line, his heart jumped and pounded fast.
Hello, Matt? It's Alice. Harry gave me your phone number while you were buying a battery. I apologize for the late call. I wanted to see how you got on. Did you remember my promise to stop by for a visit?
Alice asked.
Alice, come on, Alice, what an apology.
Matt assured her fervently.
I'm very glad to hear from you. We had a great trip, thank you. And of course, we look forward to seeing you again. Harry will be absolutely delighted.
Just Harry?
Alice asked slyly.
Not only.
Matt answered quietly, his cheeks burning.
I'll be very happy too.
They chatted some more and said goodbye, agreeing to meet up at the weekend. Matt sat looking at his phone for a long time, smiling at his thoughts. For the first time in a long time, he felt so warm and happy. It was as if something new and wonderful and hopeful had come into his life with the first rain. He finished the cooled tea and went to bed. It was still raining outside the window. It is on nights like this that miracles happen, big and small. You just have to want and believe very much.